Republicans did it! Woo, woo, woo! Republicans have finally achieved their goal of canceling Obamacare.
Do you support Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
Affordable Care Act.
And why is that?
Well, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Obama, so I don't support him in the Obama things that he's got going on. I'm actually really excited for President-elect Donald Trump, so.
Right. So you don't like anything Obama does, and you prefer the Affordable Care Act.
Absolutely.
Do you support Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
I support Obamacare.
So if you were a senator and you could vote today, you would vote to keep Obamacare instead of the Affordable Care Act?
Yes.
Do you support Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
I guess the Affordable Care Act?
And why do you prefer the Affordable Care Act over Obamacare?
I'm not really sure. My girlfriend supports Trump, so I go with whatever she says.
What is the main difference between Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act?
One is you pay, and then the other one is Obama pays for you.
Right, Obama pays, pretty big difference.
Pretty big difference.
I believe that Obamacare, the premiums are too high, so people end up paying more.
Right.
So I believe in the Affordable Care Act.
And so the Affordable Care Act is more affordable than Obamacare?
Right, correct.
Right.
Which is obvious based on the name.
It's in the name, right.
Right.
Why do you like the Affordable Care Act more than Obamacare?
Because I don't like Obama.
But you like the Affordable Care Act?
Yeah.
What if I told you Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act are the same thing? And which plan do you support, Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
The Affordable Care Act.
And what is it about Obamacare that you do not like?
I just think that there's a lot of holes in it, and it needs to be revamped. I think
And you think
hasn't been thought out.
You think the Affordable Care Act is a better plan than Obamacare?
Better, but I'm not happy with that either.
What do you agree with, Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
I'm more towards the Affordable Care Act, but I'm also very sympathetic for people that don't have the ability to have proper medical insurance.
So the Affordable Health Care Act is still a better option than
Yes.
Obamacare?
Yes.
And why do you not agree with the Affordable Care Act?
Well, I think it's not really available for all.
So the Affordable Care Act is more affordable than Obamacare?
Just the name says it all.
Right. You would agree with the Affordable Care Act?
Absolutely. I think it's nice that everyone can afford it, and everyone should be able to afford it, but to force people to pay something and then doctors to make something, limiting their ability to do their job, that's kind of anti-American.
Right. So Obamacare is un-American?
I think it's kind of un-American to force people. What if they can't afford it? What if they want more coverage?
And the Affordable Care Act is American?
I think it's more American because it allows people to make their own choices on what they want and who they want to work with.
Do you agree with the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare?
The Affordable.
And why do you prefer the Affordable Care Act over Obamacare?
I just don't agree with the whole Obamacare policy thing that's going on. I just don't agree with it.
And do you believe that an informed citizenry is essential to a democracy?
Yes.
So you disagree with Obamacare?
Yes, I do.
Do you think insurance companies should be able to exclude people with pre-existing conditions?
No.
Do you agree that young people should be able to stay on their parents' plans until they are 26?
They should be able to, yes.
Do you agree that companies with 50 or more employees should provide health care?
I do.
And so, by that logic, you would be for the Affordable Care Act?
Yes.
What plan do you support, Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
The Affordable Care Act.
And why do you support that over Obamacare?
Do not like Obamacare. I don't like anything that has to be forced for everybody to buy. This is not good.
Do you think Obamacare is socialist?
Yes, I do.
Do you think the Affordable Care Act is socialist?
No.
Do you believe that Obamacare will eventually lead to gun prohibition?
Yes.
Do you know that Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act are the same thing?
Republicans did it! Woo, woo, woo! Republicans have finally achieved their goal of canceling Obamacare. They did it, guys. Since 2016, they've been trying to take down Obamacare. They've been trying to repeal the Affordable Care Act. And after 8 Democratic senators, turncoats, decided to give in, to cave, To Republicans, it seems likely that Republicans have finally achieved their goal of repealing the Affordable Care Act. Because let's be real, once those subsidies expire and people's premiums double, triple, quadruple in some cases, we already know what's gonna happen. Mass cancellation. Everybody's dumping Obamacare, myself included. Because I'm about to cancel my shit right now. Republicans have effectively gutted the Affordable Care Act. And now we're all gonna suffer. It's okay, guys. It's okay. Now insurance companies can make even more money. Going back to the good old days, guys. Don't you remember pre-existing conditions? Don't you remember having to get off of your parents' insurance once you hit 18 or once you graduate from college? We're gonna go back to drug prescription companies gouging us for things like insulin. We're gonna go back to millions of Americans being uninsured, guys. We're gonna go back to those millions of people being uninsured, upping premiums for the rest of us. This is just what the Republicans wanted. It's a great day for America.
Do you know, after watching some of these TikToks, that I realize that the white people in America are the most uneducated, easily manipulated people on the face of the planet. Apparently, somewhere in their brain cells, they think Obamacare is for blacks and the A.C.A. is for whites. They think EBT is for blacks and SNAP is for whites. So now we need to play reverse psychology to get the white people to understand that their health care is going to be affected. All of you Democrats need to start calling anything to do with health care the A.C.A. Anything to do with food, SNAP. The Republicans have been very, very good at turning programs that is for everyone in the United States into white and black acronyms. That's how they divide people. And most of you don't even get it. I cannot believe in the year of our Lord 2025, in the United States of America, there are people who live in this country who do not know that Obamacare was a slur by the Republicans for the A.C.A. I can't believe it. You know, the world used to think that Americans were intelligent and smart. But because of this TikTok, the world now realizes that Americans are easily manipulated, lied to, and they just absorb it into their brain. The latest is that because of the A.C.A., premiums have gone up. No, that's another manipulation by the Republicans. Corporations, United Healthcare, Cigna, Humana, all of them set the rates. Corporations. And how do they set the rates? They have what are called actuaries. Actuaries. And it's a game of like chance. The actuary calculates how many of you Americans will seek health care, what the premium will be, and how much profit they will make. Yes, that's how it works. It has nothing to do with the legislation. It has to do with GREED. This is what Luigi was trying to tell you.
Well, a little over 3 years ago, I publicly shared that I was super fired up. Not because I was diagnosed with breast cancer, but because of the high cost of diagnostic testing to be diagnosed. This just really lit a fire inside of me to help advocate for change and stand up for those going through it behind me. Today, I am coming on super fired up because there is so much on the line in the election. And there has not been enough attention around the Affordable Care Act set to expire in 2025 and what that means. To be honest, before I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I was a young, healthy person. I wouldn't have thought much of it. Living this, it has changed the way I think. So, with the Affordable Care Act, it protects Americans from being discriminated against by their insurance company. If this expires, insurance companies can charge those with pre-existing conditions more or deny them coverage altogether. It also allows for breast screenings to be covered 100% by your insurance. It also covers young adults age 18 to 26 to stay on their parents' insurance. And say those young adults, if they have a pre-existing condition or even something in childhood that they outgrew, insurance providers could charge them more or deny them coverage altogether. There is so much on the line. And as a breast cancer survivor, I am horrified if this is to happen. If our insurance becomes more expensive or if I am denied coverage, I don't know what we will do. As a survivor, you are at higher risk for other cancers and you have to be under surveillance. It takes money to do that. I am just one of millions that could be affected by this. Your vote matters. Know what you are voting for. Are you voting against yourself? Are you voting against your loved ones? If you want to protect the women, you need to keep the Affordable Care Act.
Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, something that just brings out the most hateful, vile comments in some people. What Obamacare did for my family. When my husband changed jobs, our profoundly disabled young son was able to have health care. When I was diagnosed with breast cancer and was almost finished with my treatments and during radiation, we lost insurance. We had 3 options: or be uninsured. Can you afford radiation? Obamacare was one of those options. Obamacare is the reason I am now back on my husband's commercial insurance plan, and they cannot deny my pre-existing condition. Obamacare is the reason my 25-year-old son has health insurance while he finishes college. We need Obamacare.
All of these Trump voters admitting that they didn't realize that Obamacare was the Affordable Care Act when they vehemently hated Obamacare is one of the most openly racist things I've ever seen in my life. Like, I don't understand how they don't have the critical thinking and the thought process to just know not to say that out loud because of just how simply racist it is that they were so against Obamacare just because they associated it with Obama, which was the point. That's why Republicans coined Obamacare, so that racist people would hate it without understanding what it was. And that's exactly what they're admitting happened by saying they hated Obamacare and they thought Trump was going to get rid of Obamacare, but they have the Affordable Care Act and they didn't realize they were the same thing. I wish I don't wish that they would keep it in, but it's insane to me that they don't have like the maybe 2 or 3 step thought process that tells them don't share that out loud because you are self-exposing that you are super racist.
Trump just proposed ending Obamacare for like the 15th time in his 2-term tenure. He said he's going to set up an account where people can shop for their own health care right off of this account. And guess what the new name is he's floating for this new healthcare system? You've got it. Trump Care. I'm Beans. Follow me for more honest commentary on the chaos around us and the politics behind it. Now, let me know if you think this version of Trump Care actually has a chance of working. Here's what's going on. 2 days ago, Trump posted these fictitious claims on Truth Social that Obama has received about $40 million in royalties from Obamacare. Now, this info came directly from a satirical site. He knowingly posted this false information. Now, this isn't about making America great again or doing what's right for the 24 million people who are going to suffer because of this healthcare crisis. No, this is all about getting revenge on Obama for whatever reasons this man has made up in his mind. The question is, do you think there's any hope of saving the healthcare system under Trump's tenure, given that those 8 Democrats crossed the aisle and gave up whatever leverage they had? Let me know in the comment section.
So, there's one aspect of this I want to explain because people might be a little confused or just questioning why did Obamacare specifically all of a sudden become in focus. When this was passed and signed into law a few months ago, the biggest healthcare cuts in American history, cuts to Medicaid, cuts to Obamacare, cuts to Medicare, spiking costs for every single American regardless of how you get your healthcare. It just so happens in the timing that the Obamacare cuts take effect first. So that's the reason, if people are wondering, oh, is this about Obamacare alone? No, it's actually about much more than that. But it's just the way the timing is. The Obamacare cuts take effect first, literally at the end of this week, November 1st. Just 2 months later, though, the Medicare provider cuts take effect. Oh. And then later next year, the Medicaid cuts. So the bottom line is, regardless of how you get your health care, you're either in line to lose it altogether, and the Congressional Budget Office projects more than 15 million Americans will lose their health care. The greatest loss of health care in American history, even more than the Great Depression. As a result of that bill that was passed, they will see their costs skyrocket. And again, this is whether you're on Medicare, whether you're on Medicaid, whether you're on Obamacare, whether you get your insurance through your employer, premiums will skyrocket in this country beginning right now because of all those other cuts to the system.
Obamacare was not a disaster, and I really wish y'all would stop spreading that lie. And it's got to be because either A, you're too young to remember what the financial market and environment looked like back in like 2006, 2008, or you got a very short memory. I entered the workforce back in 2006, the same year I entered college, and the minimum wage was $5.15 an hour. Maybe 1 or 2 years after that, it was $6.55 an hour. At $5.15 an hour, $6.55 an hour, you were not getting insurance through the company. I remember that vividly. That premium was going to at least eat up 1 week of your check, and you only making $200 a week anyway. And you for damn sure wasn't going to get it privately because the premiums are even higher. This is why people back in the day told y'all, get a job with the post office, get a job with the city, get a job with the state, work for the government. Why? Because you may not get rich working for the government, but them benefits are going to make sure you're taken care of. But if you want to know the value of the A.C.A., you can just look at the benefits they celebrate. Do you know how many people were denied coverage due to pre-existing conditions? Do you understand how many people had the prices of their insurance jacked up just because they got sick? Y'all are harder on this legislation than y'all are on the companies that cause need for legislation. High premiums existed long before the Affordable Care Act. High deductibles existed long before the Affordable Care Act. Medical debt definitely existed long before the Affordable Care Act. In fact, medical debt has always been one of the leading causes of bankruptcy in the United States. The Affordable Care Act was originally meant to be a step toward universal health care. The problem is nobody else has taken another step to actually accomplish the goal of universal health care for citizens of the United States. Y'all got to start doing some research on your own instead of regurgitating these talking points that are completely unfounded.
Before Obamacare, women were charged more than their male counterparts if they were of childbearing age. Before Obamacare, pregnancy was considered a pre-existing condition. And before Obamacare, a pre-existing condition meant that an insurance company could deny coverage if they thought you were going to cost them too much money if you had, I don't know, cancer. Since its inception, Republicans have worked tirelessly to make sure that Obamacare does not work. But in those 15 years of stripping away all the working parts till we find ourselves where we are right now, they have done nothing to come up with an alternative plan. 15 years, and they don't even have a concept of a plan.
Did you know that the A.C.A. is Obamacare? Did you know that the Department of Education is fundamental if you have a child that has an IEP, a 504, if they need accommodations, because that's what guarantees a fair and adequate education for all students? Did you know that the Department of Education was over the Pell Grants and FAFSA? Did you know that over 46% of all of the people that are on Medicaid are minors, meaning children and infants? Did you know that LGBTQIA does include people that are gay? Sorry, I've just been on FAFO TikTok, and it's amazing how many people don't know basic things. So, yeah, anyway, I'm going back.